The Montessori Classroom is a prepared environment specifically designed for the needs and tendencies of the 3 to 6-year-old child. During the morning, the child will go between individual lessons, maybe lessons with one other child or a small group, or he could be in a larger group with the teacher. One of my key roles is to be an observer, to watch for readiness in the child, to watch when a child is finished with the work he is doing and ready to move on to something else, whether he maybe needs a little point of interest to get beyond where he might be stuck in a lesson.
Children start their experience in our classroom with practical life, and when you come into our classroom, you'll see your child and other children using anything from sewing to washing cloths to washing dishes. And then they will also experience work with sensorial materials, which is learning about the aspects of our environment, shape, colors, size. You'll see children working with language materials, from sandpaper letters to writing with a movable alphabet or writing with a pencil on paper to reading, just anything we have in the environment that they can read. You will also see children working with math materials. Children start with basic concepts of quantity and symbols of numbers, and you might see a child in our environment working up to addition math facts, multiplication math facts. The biggest advantage of becoming a Montessori child is the essence of learning and loving to learn. You learn with an independence and with a joy that I've just not seen in other places, and it carries through.
When a child first starts in the Montessori, the seeds are planted, and it really takes that full 3-year cycle to really see the blossoms bloom. And they'll make connections that they wouldn't normally make if they're only here for a 1 or 2 year period. Montessori was really a genius when she thought of all the materials. She specifically designed it so that a child would need to master one material before they could move on to another. We see that a lot with materials in the preliminary lessons, where they're really designed to develop muscles and the muscle development of the young children. But before they can actually move on to anything else, they really do need to master those so that we know that they're physically capable of carrying trays and that sort of thing. Other materials like the trinomial cube are integrated throughout the Montessori educational system all the way through 6th grade. Here in the primary, it's presented as a puzzle, and the children only know it as a puzzle, but it actually represents a algebraic equation, which they actually end up dissecting and writing about in 6th grade.
Casa is a little bit unique in that we study about 4 or 5 countries a year and have a celebration at the end of it. Recently, we all studied a part of Asia. One class studied China.
I caught one!
And had a dragon that they all got to go under, the long dragon. A couple classrooms did Japan and did wood blocks of Mount Fuji or the foods of Mount Fuji. My class studied India. We had a little Indian market that showed all the things that you might get. They got to smell spices, try on the bangles, wear a bindi, and we had a demonstration on how to wear a sari. And then they all shared in some Indian food and left with a great experience. Our classroom works a little bit like a family, and the greatest thing about it is you get to be the youngest child, the middle child, but they wait to be the oldest child in the class. So that last year is their chance to feel like they went to the end of the shelf, they finished everything on the shelf, they are the one that gets to go to the office to get the copies, they're the most competent, they get to help the young children, so it just gives them that air of confidence, independence, just something that will last their lifetime. So when they don't get to do that, they leave us knowing they didn't get to finish, sort of, and then they miss it. Everyone always says, how can you let them go after having them for 3 or 4 years? But if we've completed our time with them and they've completed, we all feel great about it.